10 million Americans lost their jobs over the last 2 weeks. The next announced unemployment rate on May 8th is expected to be in the double digits. With no underlying issues that were present or obvious at the time, what does this pandemic mean to the economy? What does it mean to real estate? And what are people predicting for the future for something that historically we really have nothing to compare it to? Today, I'm going to focus on unemployment, how it compares historically, and what it might mean for the future, and what economists are looking at to try to help us predict the future. What's very interesting is that this was a planned, organized shutdown by the US. Almost a complete shutdown. What are the overall goals to keep everyone, households, and the business as a whole moving forward? Obviously, it's stimulus. Businesses and direct stimulus to the people to try to keep them whole, because we know that this is potentially temporary. And then is that enough to keep the good times rolling how they were just about a month ago? Now, how my positive outlook thinks is, well, things were good before. Once we get through this, it's just going to go right back up to where it was. Now, I know that's just the ultimate positive thinking that doesn't always happen, even as much as I'd like to see it happen. I deep down know it's not likely. But things can get better a lot faster because things were going good. But in the intermediary, what exactly does that mean? We know that for unemployment, it's going to be extreme highs. And what I do want to know and look over is, historically, how has unemployment affected the real estate market? And here's a graph. Looking at the graph, the unemployment rate was rising 1992 and 1993, yet home sales increased. Continuing to 01 and 03, unemployment was rising and home sales increased again. The unemployment rate was rising again in 07 through 2010. And during that time, home sales did significantly decrease. And unemployment rate that was falling continuously between 2015 and 2019, and home sales were relatively flat. So there really doesn't seem to be a direct relationship between unemployment rates and home sales. So I think what we can get out of this is that because there's not a direct relationship, you can't look at the one factor and decide that it's going to directly affect real estate. Now, believe me, I get it. It's super logical to think that people don't have jobs, they can't buy houses. There's always more to it. For instance, we don't really know what kind of jobs are being lost, and if those are home buyers or if they are ever planning on being home buyers. We also know how much the housing market affects the US economy. So they're going to do everything they can to keep that afloat. Now, with the stimulus, that's going to keep people in a lot of their jobs, so they're going to get their jobs back fairly soon. What I would be more worried about is inflation. How is inflation going to affect the value of my money? Because real estate is such a good hedge against inflation, it actually makes more sense to be a homeowner than it ever did before. Now, we've never seen job losses like this in over 100 years. And I want to show you this next graph. If you look at the Great Depression and the Great Recession, it took a year to multiple years to get to the percentage of unemployment rates that we got to within weeks. And according to Goldman Sachs, they believe that our employment is going to get better rather quickly. So maybe for the short term, there will be motivated sellers who are really selling out of fear. But the values of those houses should come back fairly quickly, because having a home is something people will always need. Putting your money into something that's tangible, like real estate, will always be a good way to hedge your bets against what is being used to get us out of every recession in the recent history. Stimulus, printing of money. Really, the question is, what will replace dollars when the consumer confidence gets so low because their fear of hyperinflation? Now, I'll save that for another discussion, but the answer to that just might be a digital currency, also known as Bitcoin.